Okay, so today's episode is going to be a two-parter. It's going to be recapping yesterday's game, and also we're going to have some fun. We're going to give out some grades for the Mariner regulars and some other stuff. That's the plan, Stan. So this will be a little bit longer video. So I'm going to remind you now to please hit like, please hit subscribe, and all that other good stuff. Mariners lose 4-3. They fail to win the series against the Rangers. They end the road trip or the home trip, excuse me, 3-3. They are now 18-19 on the season. Let's go over how it happened. In the first inning, Ty France singles to left, gets in a kind of unnecessary rundown because I think the run would have scored, but he is thrown out. But the run also scores to make it 1-0. Third inning, bad inning. Marcus Semien homers to left. Nathaniel Lowe doubles Robbie Grossman home, and Jonah Heim doubles home Nathaniel Lowe to make it 3-1. Fifth inning, JP Crawford singles home Julio Rodriguez to make it 3-2. Sixth inning, Marcus Semien singles home Ezekiel Duran to make it 4-2. Jared Kelnick triples home Jose Caballero to make it 4-3. That's it. Let's talk about the positives. I think there were some. We got to talk about Julio Rodriguez moving down in the lineup first. It's not what I would have done. I get it to a point. I still want Julio Rodriguez having as many at-bats as possible with this team. And in the sixth spot, you're taking away the potential for one or maybe even two at-bats a game. I don't love that. I don't mind putting Crawford at the lineup right now because of how well he's getting on base. But I would have Crawford hitting third or fourth then. Or excuse me, Julio hitting third or fourth. I think it's a mistake. And I think he looked really good yesterday too. Scorched a couple of baseballs that just happened to be, at people, or players made nice plays. Did have the one strikeout at the end of the game, but that was an absolutely filthy slider from Will Smith. I think he's looked outside of a couple of games like he's pretty darn close. Result-oriented business. Another nice game from Crawford, a really nice game from Kelnick. That triple is as good of a piece of hitting as you will see, to have that quick of a bat and to still make that much hard contact to the opposite field. Special. That's pretty much it for positives, I think. Ty France driving in the he doesn't get credit for the RBI, but he basically drove in the run. Anything else here really positive? Maybe something in the bullpen. The bullpen did its job outside of Matt Brash. And so we can get into our negatives. I'll start with Castillo. I think Luis Castillo was actually really good today outside of one inning. But that's not how baseball works. Every inning matters. And you have to avoid these big innings, especially when you're the ace of the staff. And to say he's the ace of this staff now is the understatement of understatements. I mean, he was before anyway, even before the Robbie Ray injury. But look, he had two huge starts at home against two of the better teams that they will face this year. And I think he came up a little short. Again, if you take away the home run from Alvarez, and if you take away the 3-run third inning, on Sunday, he pitched pretty darn well. But you can't do that. Your ace has to be better than that. And unfortunately, unlike the game against Houston, he wasn't able to go deep. It hurt. Brash, again, a little bit dink and dunk stuff, but did not have his best command. That run ends up hurting. You lose by one. If he can keep that run from scoring, different game. Yeah, this was just a disappointing series, especially after the 2-1. The 2-1. That made absolutely no sense. A disappointing series after what they got against the Astros. Will they take a 3-3 homestand against those two teams? I suppose, but I was hoping for better. Now a pretty big road trip coming up. 3 against Detroit, who is playing better, but still not very good. Boston, who is, I think, a direct competitor. I don't trust their pitching at all, but they can hit. they've got some good players. And Atlanta's one of the best teams in baseball. One of the best teams in baseball. So this will be really interesting. We have Mariner legend Marco Gonzalez against former Mariner legend Matthew Boyd. Boyd would have been a nice restay, but I don't blame him for wanting to go and start. Restay? Wow, the words are not flowing today, folks. I will admit I'm very tired. Thursday is my only off day, and yeah. Yep, there's still an awful lot for me to do on that off day still. Yeah, I think this is a big road trip. Big road trip coming up, and with the balanced schedule, there is no, you know, you don't have those big loaded up division games, although you got Double A Midland coming up and some more games against Texas. And yeah. Okay. So let's do some grading stuff because we are basically at the quarter point of the year. A little less, but I thought we would just take a look at every player and not every player, but all the regulars and give them grades and a quick reason why. Where do I want to start? How do I want to start this? Some people write out plans to do stuff. Not me. Not me. Let's see here. Let's start with let's just start with the infield and go around, okay? Cal Raleigh, big dumper. I'd probably give him a C plus. I was expecting a little bit more. I will say that some of this is hurt, I think, by the fact that he is clearly not 100%, but catchers often aren't. The approach has been pretty good. There's been the power, not quite as much as I'd like, but the average has been pretty low. The swing and miss is always going to be an issue with him. But I still think he can play better than this. And I think defensively he's been okay. A couple of really bad throws. Framing's always good. I can't wait for framing to no longer be a thing. Yeah, I think a C plus is fair. Ty France will give a nice B minus too. And it's really a tale of two halves type of thing. You know, he was great to start the year. I know we're technically still starting the year. He was awful in the middle of what we're calling this start of the year, and he's starting to hit again. I need to see more hard contact, and my gosh, is this guy a bad base runner? Just impossibly bad base runner for somebody who gets rave reviews for his baseball acumen. I see so many mistakes, and the fact that he's super slow too doesn't exactly help. But I think a B minus is fair. Colton Wong, D. It was an F. It's now a D. He's got to really pick things up. And he's starting to, but he really hurt the Mariners. He really hurt the Mariners. This is a player right now who is still a -1 WAR player. Whew. That's bad. That's really bad. Got to get better. And again, we can't help but talk about, what we talked about in the offseason, that there's a massive opportunity to improve up the middle. One guy who doesn't need a whole heck of a lot of improvement is JP Crawford. I'm giving him a B plus. I was close to A minus here. He's been excellent. No power whatsoever. Wish there was some speed to go with the on base percentage, but he's drawing walks and he's playing solid defense. Not spectacular defense, but solid defense. I'll take it. I will absolutely take that from him. And, victim of expectations a little bit here. I'm trying not to do it like based on what I expected from the guy. It's more supposed to be about just their performance. Everybody's supposed to be equal, level playing field. It's hard to do that because I had fairly low expectations for Crawford based on what I saw last year. It's been great. Very, very good. Eugenio Suarez, I'm probably giving it. I'm going to go C minus. He had a real nice run there with the average. It's clearly fallen down, and the power has not been there, and they need it from him. I have no doubt that the power will come. This has been one of the most prolific home run hitters over the last 4 or 5 years. There's just no way that the power isn't going to start showing up soon. but he's slugging 321. JP Crawford has him in slugging by 25 points, which all that tells you is that he's gotten on base a considerably higher amount than more than the power, because Suarez has 3 home runs and 5 doubles compared to 1 homer and 8 doubles for Crawford. So I don't know. He's got to play better. I think his defense has been really good. I think he's been a very solid defensive third baseman, but we need more from him from the bat. Let's go to right field first. Teoscar Hernandez, I would be awfully close to giving an F2. The metrics like his defense a lot more than I think they should. But man, a 54-5 strikeout to walk ratio, a 260 on base percentage, a 215 average, a 396 slugging mark. Yes, he does have the 7 home runs, which ties him with Kelenic for the lead. I guess I'll go D. I expected more, and I will demand more going forward. He's got to be better. I knew that there were going to be bumps, but there hasn't been enough non-bumps. Really not impressed with what I've seen from him so far. And that's disappointing, because I've loved watching this guy from afar. But this isn't good enough. This flat out isn't good enough. Okay, Julio. I'm going to go C-. I was thinking C, because I think his defense has actually been really strong and he's provided value on the bases. But I need Julio Rodriguez. I'm sorry. Expectations matter here. And it's not fair to have these kind of expectations for a 22-year-old, but I do. I need him to be better. I need the results to be there on top of the process. And the process hasn't been that great. 46 strikeouts, 146 at bats is not good. 11 walks on pace for like a 40 to 50 walk season. That's from your leadoff guy, which is, I think, where they intend him to be at the end of the year. It's not good enough. Has to be better. So glad he's contributed with the glove and the wheels. And I have, again, zero doubt long-term he's going to be fine, and very little doubt short-term he's going to be fine. Very little is just I don't know the right term for it. I think Julio Rodriguez is going to be great. And I think he'll be great over these next 127 games. Zero doubt in my mind. Zero doubt. Okay, and then your MVP is Jarred Kelenic. A. He's been great. Even with him slowing down a little bit, power's not being there a little bit lately, still great. Quality defense in the outfield, contributing with the stolen bases, hitting 294, 348, 563, leading the team in WAR. A. Even with if you lower the expectations or heighten the expectations, it's still an A. Absolutely still an A. MVP of this team so far. AJ Pollock, D. Sam Haggerty, D. Tommy Lascella did not play, coach's decision. Taylor Trammell, based on a limited size, I'd give him a high grade, but hasn't played enough. Tom Murphy, D+. Playing a little bit better. Jose Caballero, I'll give it a solid B2. Again, I'm not a believer in this. I hope I'm wrong, but it's very tough for me to see this. But maybe if he's just playing against lefties and getting the chance to do that and playing solid defense, there's a chance for this to work out. I just hope people don't think that this is like a future regular. You know what I mean? I think that's basically it offensively. Let's move over to the pitching. Luis Castillo, B+. Was a straight up A up until these last couple of starts. Still very, very strong. Very, very strong. 52-9 strikeout to walk ratio. You can't complain about that. You simply cannot. George Kirby B plus, pretty much the same numbers right now, other than the strikeouts. One guy has 52, one guy has 35, but three walks in 44 and 2/3 innings. Look, does he catch too much of the plate sometimes? Yeah, but is that stuff good enough to make up for it? Yeah, it absolutely is. I could not be more impressed with what Kirby's done so far. Logan Gilbert, I'd probably give a B to. There's just been a couple of too many clunkers, a couple of 6 inning, 4 run starts, which aren't abhorrent. I've found out I've been saying that word wrong. I guess that's like aberrant, but whatever. Solid, and was spectacular in his last start. Big three holding up. Marco Gonzalez, I'm going to go B minus, even though the results are pretty icky. Like a 4.70 ERA and a 6.8 strikeout per 9 inning is not very good. But there have been a couple of really strong starts. Really strong starts. I think he's doing his job. He's your 5th starter now. So if that's what you're getting from your 5th starter, it's not great, but you could do a heck of a lot worse. Bryce Miller, way too small of a sample to grade, but has looked fantastic. Zero complaints from what I've seen from him so far. The ability to pound the strike zone has just been, what's interesting, by the way? Bryce Miller actually has a higher WAR right now than Logan Gilbert in 28.1 fewer innings and 5 fewer starts. Which what that tells you is not an insult to Logan Gilbert. It just tells you how good Bryson Miller has been. Why do I keep calling him Bryson? There must be a Bryson that I knew, or maybe I'm just confusing it with Tyson Miller. I'm so sorry. Bryce Miller. Robbie Ray, obviously, way too little to judge. Okay, so everybody I'm skipping here. Chris Flexen technically again belongs in the starter thing. D. He's done a decent job out of the bullpen at least, but like, yikes. That was such a disaster as a starter. Disappointing. Didn't think that was going to happen. Didn't expect fireworks, but I didn't expect an out and out disaster. Man. Okay, the relievers. I should just for the group give them like a B plus, but Gabe Spire A, Justin Topa A. They've been so good. So good. And again, these are guys people didn't want. So good. And a ton of credit to Hollander and Dipoto and the pitching development for getting the absolute best out of those guys. Paul Sewald, I'll probably go B, but I'm tempted to go higher. Like the overall numbers aren't great. All of these clunkers, like the bad numbers, are happening in games where he's just throwing fastballs and it's 4-run leads or coming in with deficits. I don't think he's given up a run actually coming in with a deficit yet, but if he's given a 5-run cushion, he doesn't mind giving up a couple of runs. So, I mean, we're a results-oriented thing here, right? But you can't help but note that, like, I don't know the exact numbers because I'm not good enough at this, like when he's pitching in high leverage situations, but he's a different pitcher, a completely different pitcher. I have all the confidence in the world in him when he's closing baseball games. May see a 3-run lead become a 2-run lead, may see a 5-run lead become a 3-run lead, yada, yada, yada. Ultimately, he's going to get the job done. Let's see here. Trevor Gott B plus. Really solid for what I've seen from him, and I love the versatility showing, ability to be a guy who can give you, multiple outs, like the 4 or 5 out type stuff, or coming in and getting the 2/3. Penn Murphy was solid before the injury. Taylor Saucedo has been very strong. Matt Brash, this is kind of the toughest one for me. I'm going to go B. And I know that's weird to say for a pitcher who has probably the highest ERA on the team outside of Flexen, not including JB Bukakis and Diego Castillo, who gets a flat out F, but is no longer on the roster, so he doesn't count. I'm going to give Matt Brash a C. That feels light. I don't feel like he's given up. Oh, this is so hard. This is one of those things that should have worked out in my head before. Let's go C+. Because, yeah, he has given up some runs. And, yeah, the command has been shaky at times. But I can't help but note how much he's been BABIP'd to death. Batting average, balls in play. Like, he's not getting hit hard. They're just finding holes. And when he has a strikeout to 9 of 17.8. 33 strikeouts in 16 and 2/3 innings. Could he be better? Yeah, of course. But the eye test here tells me that Matt Brash has been just fine. But it's results, too. And a 5.40 ERA and a 1.62 whip is not great. C+. C+, just passing. Just above that 2.0. I think that's it. Scott Service, I'm probably giving a C too. There's been a couple of decisions that I haven't loved. I think he's a great manager. I really do. I've seen some complaining in the comments, and that's fine. It's the best scapegoat in the world is the baseball manager. Totally understand. But I think ultimately he does a better job than I think people give him credit for. Ultimately, I do. I'm not going to grade Dipoto or Hollander. That's stupid. There's a lot of times to fix this roster. I think I've made it abundantly clear that I wasn't a huge fan of this offseason plan. Prove me wrong. Plenty of time to make this team better too. Plenty of time. So, yeah. Do you guys agree or disagree with the grades I just gave? Anybody I was too harsh with? Anybody I was too lenient with? Probably. Nobody agrees on anything anymore. And that's fun. It's fun. Embrace debate. No, I'm kidding. Don't embrace debate. Worst thing about sports is that attitude. Don't have to agree on everything, but arguing for the sake of arguing is stupid. Really stupid. Again, please hit like, please hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Crawford_MILB. Sports Sometimes, my new podcast. Just had Craig Calcaterra on. We talked about a bunch of fun stuff. And yeah, it's been fun. I say it like we don't have 125 games left, but what do you think? Anybody deserving of higher grades? Anybody deserving of lower grades? Let me know.